The Turkey Valley Trojans improved to 3-1 last week with a 76-25 win over Elkader Central. Chatting here with head coach Mark Scott. And coach, your overall thoughts and impressions from last Friday night?
Uh, Kids came ready to play. It was homecoming. You're always a little worried about that, but they showed up. Executed a game plan we wanted to execute on defense, and after offense, they executed well, and on special teams gave us short yardage situations on almost every drive. So short field.
And it looks like you got quite a few kids in the game, and quite a few kids contributed on the stat sheet. When you have a situation like that, does that kind of increase the energy and everything else heading into the next week of practice when everyone can contribute to a victory like you did last Friday night?
I'd like to say yes, but that'd be a lie. So, yeah, I mean, it was good for them to get in games. And then what was really nice about it is that the JV game that we had scheduled for this Monday got canceled. So those kids that at least got some playing time in the last week by being able to play quite a bit in the Friday night.
And you mentioned your special teams contributed really well. How has that aspect of your team grown through the first half of the season?
Well, I don't know if it's grown. Some teams kick you the ball and some teams don't. And they kicked it right to our best return person, and he did a nice job. And the kids up front did a nice job of turning people and giving them lane to run the ball in.
And from the kickoff coverage perspective, Oliver doing a good job putting about 40% of his kickoffs into the end zone for touchbacks. How does having a strong-legged kid like that just kind of help you from a field position standpoint?
Well, as a coach, you want to see that ball go into the end zone because kickoffs and special teams, can get dangerous fast because it's easy for, everybody's all together. You don't have anybody behind and, or very few. And if somebody misses a tackle and the other team gets a seam, and, then you're chasing people. So when it goes into the end zone, it takes a lot of pressure off of you. And yes, having teams start at the 15 instead of the 30, 35, because then a first down doesn't necessarily put them in 4-down territory. They start at 30, 35-yard line. They might be in, they get a first down, they're in 4-down territory, and it takes a little longer to get them off the field.
And we've talked a lot about Oliver on the offensive side of the ball, but he had another very good night defensively the other night. 8 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. I know probably from my perspective, I haven't given him enough credit for the defensive side of the ball, but what does he bring on the defensive side?
Well, he's physical. They weren't, and their offensive scheme had a little bit of a flaw to it that we saw, and he took advantage of that.
And this week, you got a very good Clarksville team coming to town, a 5-0 squad to this point. What are you expecting out of the Indians come Friday night?
Fast backs. They get outside. They've scored a lot of touchdowns from 40+ yards away. They get outside, and you're going to have a hard time catching them. So, yeah, and they got athletic kids on. Same kids playing defense, so they got a fast, physical defense too.
All right, Coach, it's going to be a tough challenge, but hopefully your kids can be up to the challenge come Friday night. Keep you guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
Mark Scott, head coach of the Turkey Valley Trojans.